What a tremendous day here in Titan territory for a couple reasons. The 77 Sweet 16 team and Dick Vitale coming back into Callahan Hall generated a lot of buzz and excitement as a result. I think we saw a crowd in upwards of almost 6,000 fans. Unlike anything we've seen, this season or in recent seasons, it's definitely a testament to our lineage and our history. Was really excited to see a guy like Terry Durod get his name into the rafters where it belonged in Titan royalty. Was equally as compelled at those guys being able to spend a little bit of time with our team and giving them some advice about playing together and some of the testimonies from their era that we can share as lasting lessons as we rebuild this era of Titan basketball. Like to credit Oakland University. They did a great job this evening of really executing their game plan. One of the things that is important to note in Horizon League play, the teams that are at the top do a really good job of not beating themselves. A game that had low turnovers from both teams. Unfortunately, in the first half, our turnovers really hurt us. When you look at the fast break points, I believe it was 20-7 to end the game, which created the separation that I thought our opponent needed tonight. And then when you look at that and you're working hard to try to get back in a game, also the difference at the end of the day, when you look at a 3-possession loss for 9 points, look at the made free throws against both teams. The difference is 9. And so it's those real simple areas of the game that we really got to make sure we shore up for future opponents that are coming up next week in UIC and Valparaiso, because, again, those teams that are at the upper echelon of the league find ways not to beat themselves.
Coach, what did Terry Durod and the guys from that 77 Sweet 16 squad talk to your players about before the game?
One of the things that Terry wanted our guys to really understand is that even in lieu of all their accomplishments, what was the secret behind their sauce is that they did it together. And they would talk about nights where he might have 35 points, or if there was a three-point line, they would probably beat teams by larger disparities. But what he also talked about is the person who passed them the ball, the person who set the screen. Everything they did, they had relationships that were lasting now in upwards of 40 years. So we had a great turnout today as a result of that. I thought our players were able to see that connectivity. And when you're retooling a program like I am right now at this stage of our history, it's so important for those guys to be around those successful teams of the past and understand the tradition and the ingredients that go into it.
And, Coach, you talked about how you guys had a poor first half. What was the difference in the second half, where you guys turned it on, had a better second half, too, than Oakland tonight?
I think, energy sometimes trumps strategy. I thought early in the game with an atmosphere that's atypical for us due to the fact that we hadn't generated enough wins to garner this type of attention, this type of crowd, I thought adrenaline got the best of us. So we looked a little lethargic early, but I chart that as guys maybe begin hyping the warm-ups, maybe draining themselves a little bit. And once they got their sea legs back under them, I thought you saw a different team in the second half, a team that not only outscored them by 8 or 9 points, I believe, in the second half, but a team that had better flow, better movement, was able to turn them over a little bit, things of that nature, like we had enjoyed with this team at various points in time through the year. So, again, new territory for us. Something that, the better teams in our league are used to. Oakland plays in front of, 3,000, 4,000 fans each and every night, even in a smaller arena. But that stimulus of having that type of atmosphere around you consistently when you're a successful program becomes the new normal. We're not there yet.
Is that good for your guys to experience this type of atmosphere at home, kind of give them some type of vision as to, what Callahan Hall can look and feel like, to have a big crowd on hand?
I think you hit the nail on the head, and it's been a number of years since I've been here in any capacity, even as an assistant. It was a 10-year lapse before I returned as the head coach. And I recall, seeing crowds like this cutting down the nets in 1999 for the only outright conference championship in our school's history against Cleveland State. And so for our kids to be able to experience this type of atmosphere with those many fans, I think is not only good for our players to have something to shoot for, but I thought it was really exciting for our recruits. We win +5 at their place. They win +8 at our place. I think the Metro Series is here to stay. I think it's a great, rivalry for this area. I think it's got a large level of interest, and I think it's only something that's going to continue to grow as we move forward in seasons ahead.
Right, I think you talked about the importance of your players seeing some of the older guys like Durant and Curtin and stuff. What does it mean for you as a younger coach to have Perry Watson and Dick Vitale maybe talking to you or you seeing them out here tonight?
It means the world to me. I mean, as the 21st head coach in our history, Terry, it was so compelling to see the second all-time winningest coach in our school's history sitting courtside within an earshot of me. Seeing the fourth all-time winningest coach. Is it fourth, Coach Vitale? Yeah, in our school's history, sitting right within an earshot of me. Because they both had encouraging things to say throughout the pregame, halftime, and after the game. And when you're trying to develop a program, just like both of those coaches had to do in their initial years, they didn't come out of the gate going to Sweet 16s, neither one of them. Coach Watson was fortunate enough to usher in a 1994 team when the league didn't have automatic bid and to create some buzz and excitement back in those days. Coach Vitale was just trying to, get, the talent upgraded, starting with the Lavelle Lucas Perrys and guys from that group and that era. So it's really compelling to have those guys around encouraging you, which is what I got from it more than anything else. And I was pretty inspired. It kind of got me juiced up, if you will, having those guys, in Titan territory.
One of your guys' calling cards and some of your wins, kind of the comeback that you've had the last month or so, has been the turnover differential. How come tonight you guys really weren't able to kind of make that a factor in the game? And like you said, the first half, I think they turned it over just a few times.
Oh, exactly. Well, credit Oakland for starters. I thought Greg Campy and his staff did a marvelous job this go-around of having not only great spacing, but great patience within the traps. Now, we didn't show a lot of that in the first half, if you noticed, okay? And a lot of that is by design based on the fact that you don't want to give a person long stretches and halftime to make adjustments. As a result, you saw that defense a little bit more in the second half, and that's where the turnovers occurred. But even in those instances, I thought they did a better job of not only moving the ball in game one, I thought they moved the ball and tried to attack initially off that first pass. Tonight, I thought they moved the ball twice and then attacked, creating long rotations for us, which led to layups, easy scores, and maybe rhythm shots. And so you got to give them a lot of credit for their ability to execute the game plan based on some of the miscues that they had versus that defense in game one. And one of the things that we tried to do in addition to that is make sure in our rotations, when they made us rotate twice, which is my point, to try to limit the fouls, and that's why I spoke to that statistic in my opening remarks about them scoring 9 more points than us from the free throw line, and essentially that ended up being the game.
Now, Bacari, you played 2 games against Oakland. Your first season now as head coach here at Detroit. What are your takeaways now from this Metro Series versus your rival, Oakland University?
I think we're going to see them again. Motor City Madness at the Joe is going to be unbelievable this year. And I'm not sure there's any team that wants to see the Detroit Titans in the first round. I can guarantee you that. We're getting better. We're improving, each day, each week. You can see that. Just when you thought this game was out of reach, it was a ball game. And so it's very important for us to understand that in a rivalry, competing, understanding that records doesn't matter, energy trumps strategy, the toughest team gets to set the rules, is a part of all of the ingredients that goes into that rivalry. I don't care which rivalry you pick in our state. This is one that I think that's growing. I think it's here to stay, and we welcome the challenge.
Coach, what's the latest on the Chris Jenkins injury front?
Okay, Chris Jenkins sat out about a week ago due to a growing strain that he had that eliminated him from Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Green Bay here in our homestand against those teams. Excuse me, this go-around, he had a knee collision to the thigh. And so he has a little bit of soreness there. We gave him a lot of treatment around the clock, dating back to yesterday, before the game, during the game, at halftime. And again, with 3 more home games to go, 5 more games left, we'd rather have him healthy down the stretch leading into the playoffs. So I didn't want to overdo it, in this particular contest. We make no excuses that had no bearing on the outcome of this game per se. But again, Chris has been nursing and fighting through those nicks, that everybody gets during the dog days of February, this juncture of the season.